We're on chapter 38, verse 26. The pasuk tells us, "Beka lagogolet," a beka for every head, machatzita shekel b'shekel kodesh, a half a shekel. V'kol ha'over pkudim, everyone who's counted has to give a half shekel. Miben esrim shana v'mala, from 20 years old and up. V'sheish me'ot elef v'shloshet elefim. For the 603,550. Rashi says, Kachayu Yisrael, Abeka, Ushem Mishkal Shamach Tzidat Shekel. It's a weight, it's a term for the weight of the half shekel. Rashi says, Asheish Me'ot Elef. Kachayu Yisrael. That's how much the Jewish people were. The Kacha Minyanam Achashu Kama Mishkan. That was their counting after the Mishkan was built. The Sefer Vayedaber, in the book of Rashi here calls the book of Bamidbar, he calls it Sefer Vayedaber, because that was the first word. Bereshit's first word is Bereshit, and the second word Shmos is Ve'ela Shmos, Vayikra is Vayikra, and Bamidbar is Vayedaber. Hey. So, I don't know why. I thought I just unlocked it. I'm not sure about that.
Should I go back and make sure it's unlocked?
If you're not sure if you locked it. So, yeah, Jerry, please ask your question.
Yeah, where are you finding this? These words, Bereshit, Shemot, Vayikra. Where?
That was coming from me, my commentary, my mind.
Referring to which pasuk?
Pasuk Chavav, because Rashi refers to the census that took place in what we call the book of Bamidbar, and he calls it Sefer Vayedaber. So I was explaining that Rashi,
in the Hebrew, I scrolled up so you can see. In the English, they just say numbers.
Oh, so it's in the Hebrew. Okay, so I was explaining that Rashi called the book of Bamidbar Sefer Vayedaber. Okay, all right.
So where's Bereshit and Shemot?
I was explaining that was me, my commentary, my explanation. Chapter 38, verse 26. Okay, Jerry?
No, I don't follow, but let's go on ahead. I didn't follow that.
What I was saying is Rashi mentioned the words B'Sefer Vayedaber, and that he calls the book of Bamidbar Vayedaber, and then
Yes.
I compared that to the other books of the Bible where we call them by their first name of the word, the first word of the book. Bereshit, Eila, Shemot, Vayikra. Those are the first words of the book.
Okay. Oh, okay, got it.
Okay. And now also at the contribution to the Mishkan, Kachayu. That was what they were in number. Uminyan chatzai hashkalim, and the total number of shkalim was shel sheish me'ot elef, of 600,000 people. Olem ad kikar, came to 100 kikar. Kol achad shel shloshet alafim shkalim, of 3,000 shkalim each. How so? Sheish me'ot elef chatzain harayin shlosh me'ot elef shlemim. 600,000 half shekels equals 300,000 shkalim. Haray ma'ata kikar, and this is 100 kikar. V'ashloshet alafim v'chamesh me'ot chamishim chatzaim, and the 3,550 shkalim, which were in addition to the 600,000, olim elef ushva me'ot chamishim v'shiva shkalim. They come to 1,775 shkalim. Okay, so what do we do with these shkalim, these half shkalim that were counted? Rashi says, "Vayhi ma'at kikar kesef." What did they do with this 100 kikar of silver? Latzeket et anei kodesh vet anei parochet, to pour the sockets of the kodesh and of the parochet. Me'at adamim, me'at kikar la'aden. So they used to pour the sockets of this and the sanctity of the sockets of the parochet. 100 sockets for 100 kikar, a kikar per socket. Rashi says Vatzeket means kitargumo atacha, to pour. Et anei kodesh shel karshem mishkan. So they took the silver which they collected from the shkalim, and they poured the sockets of the beams of the mishkan. Shem arba'im u'shmona krashim, which are 48 beams. V'lahen tishim v'shisha adanim, 96 sockets. V'anei parochet arba'ah, and the sockets of the curtains are 4. Harei meya, that's 100. V'chol shara adanim nechoshet katuv b'hem, and all the other sockets, copper was written on them. Okay, so this is what they use the sockets for. Let's go to verse 28. With the remaining 1,775, he made hooks for the pillars and covered the tops. And he made belts for them. Okay. Rashi says, he made the tops of the pillars from them. My friend told me today, person told me, and he bought an apartment in a building in DC, bought it from a very wealthy person, and the banister of the staircase was made out of sterling silver. So that's like the sockets. They took the sockets and they made it out of silver. Verse 39. Let's go to chapter 39 because we're only doing on this portion, because there's so few Rashis, we're only doing the verses that have Rashis on them. Verse 39, chapter 39, verse 1. From the tchelet and the argaman, from the purple, from the turquoise wool and the purple and the crimson, asu vigde straddle sharet bakodesh. They made these garments, srad garments, to cover the holy utensils. And they made the holy garments that were for Aaron, just like God commanded Moshe. Rashi says, linen is not mentioned here. From here I say, that these mesh garments are not the priestly garments, because the priestly garments have linen. Therefore, Rashi's of his position, these are the garments which cover the holy utensils, when they depart on their travels. They had no linen in them. Okay, verse 2.
Oh. It's cute. The English is cute. It's cloths instead of clothes. Just
nice.
The difference of an E.
Beautiful. Vayasat the ephod, and they made the ephod. Zahav tched vargaman, gold, purple, turquoise purple, v'torat shani v'sheish masar, and twisted linen. Vayiraku et pachei zahav, they spread out the thinly beaten gold, the kitzeitz petilim, and they cut strands. Lasot b'toch hatzchelet b'toch argaman. They put the strands of the thin, like gold thread, to put it into the tchelas and the argaman. Uv'toch torat hashani, amongst the crimson and the sheish maaseh choshev, the work of an artist. Rashi says, Vayiraku, they spread it thin, like liroka aretz, to one who flattens the earth. Katar gamo viradidu, they beat it. Tasina Yumurad, the Dim and Azav, they used to beat out the straps, the plates from the gold. Tasindakin, thin plates. Here it teaches you how they would weave the gold with the thread. Miradadim tasindakin, they would beat these plates thin. And they cut strands across the length of the plate. So they would take these gold threads, which were thinned out from the pieces of gold, and they would mix it in with the thread, in the choshen and the breastplate, and the ephod, as it says, zahav, chut shel zahav. They would take one thread of the gold, and they would do it with the 6 threads of tchelet, and kol min v'min, kol min and chutin haful shish, zahav, chut shvi and kol chad v'chad. So each thread had 7 threads. The 6 of each one plus the gold was the 7th. But Rashi's actually already told us this. He's just repeating it here. Now, this is unusual because he already said he's not going to repeat himself, but he's repeating himself here. Okay, now we're going to go to chapter 39, verse 27. They made a tunic of linen for Aaron and his sons. So it's not just for Aaron, this is for Aaron's sons. And a turban of linen. And now this is unusual. And the splendor of the hats of linen. So Rashi says, what is the parei amigbaot, the splendor of the hats? Rashi says, tiferet amigbaot. Amigbaot hamefuarot, the splendid hats. That's what Rashi says, the splendid hats. So this is a hat that was for Aaron and also for his sons. They both had these hats, but one was called the mitznef and one was called the migbaot. Now, came, and they took the avnate of linen that was twisted, and turquoise and purple and crimson. Masero came, and embroiderer work. Asher tiva Hashem and Mashiach, God commanded. Vayasu et hatzitz, and they made the golden forehead plate. Nezer HaKodesh, the holy crowns, Av Tahor, pure gold. Vayichtavu alav, and he wrote upon it, Mechtav Pituchei Chotam, the writing, like the engraving of a signet, Kodesh Hashem. They wrote on it Kodesh Hashem. Vayinu alav, and they put on the golden forehead plate, Psil Tchelas, the blue thread, Lateit al Mitznefel Milmal. So basically, they're going to attach from the golden forehead plate a blue thread which went above the turban. Kasher tiva Hashem and Moshe. Now Rashi's already explained to us back in Tisah, one thread went above the turban, and then 2 went on the sides of the head. He's going to say this, but he's already said this earlier. We're going to repeat it here. Okay. Let's see this Rashi, which is controversial. We'll see why in a few moments it's controversial. First, let's read it. Verse 31. To put on the mitznefet above. And through these turquoise threads, the tzitz would rest on the mitznefet like a crown. It's impossible to say that the tzitz was on the mitznefet, because in Tractate Zevachim we learned the tzitz was not on the crown; it was his hair was visible between the forehead and between the tzitz and the hat. And there in this spot, he would put the tefillin. So the tzitz was on the forehead. That means the mitznefet was above on the head and the tzitz was below. And so therefore, what does it mean when it says mitznefet? What does it mean when it says the tzitz was on the mitznefet from above? And also in Zvachim they ask, Kanu Omer, here it states, Rashi says actually, Vodik Shetiba, I asked here. Kanu Omer, here it says, that they placed upon it the Patil Techelet. Ubinyan Atzava Omer, well, when it says to make the tzitz, it says with some to al Patil Techelet. That you shall apply, you should put the tzitz on the Patil. But Omer Ni, so Rashi says, I think that these strings were to tie the tzitz to the mitznefet. The tzitz was just a forehead plate that went from one ear to the other ear. How are you going to attach it? So therefore they put strings on each of the corners of the tzitz and also in the middle. And that's how they attached it to the mitznefet. There were two threads at each side.
So like a tiara?
What?
Like a girl's tiara?
There were strings on each side.
Yeah, but I'm saying the tzitz only, you said only reached the ear.
Yeah, it didn't go all the way around. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so that's what Rashi says. And then they had the two threads on either end. One above and one below on each side. And also in the middle. That's made it easy to tie. And to tie something, you normally need two threads. So basically, there's a double thread being tied to the other double thread. And then, therefore it says the tzitz was on a string, and there was string on it. He would tie both ends together, behind him against the back of his neck. And he would put it on the mitznefet. And don't be surprised by the fact that it doesn't say strings of tchelas or merubanim, because there are many. We found with regard to the choshen and the ephod, there were no less than two strings. So there were the two rings of the choshen and the two straps of the ephod. So there had to be at least two. But anyway, this is what Rashi says here. But Rabbeinu Haigon in the commentary here says he understands the splendors of the hats as referring to a decorative button at the top of the hats. Rashi rejects this because no mention was made of these buttons in Parshas Tetzaveh, where Moshe was instructed how to make the priestly garments. So this phrase Parei Mikbaot, Rabbeinu Haigon says that there was a button on top of the hats. That's an unusual explanation. Okay. Verse 32. Okay, now beautiful. Vateichal kol avodat mishkan or moed, and all the work of the Mishkan, the tent of the meeting, was completed. Vayasu b'nei Yisrael k'chol asher tzivat Hashem et Moshe ki nasu. And the children of Israel completed this work. They did everything that Hashem commanded them to do. Rashi says, Et hamocha k'chol asher tzivah. They did all the work. Vayaviu et Mishkan al Moshe, and they brought the Mishkan to Moshe. At the all of it, of the 10 tenants, utensils, krashav, brichav, amadav, amadanav. All its implements, its hooks, its beams, its bars, its pillars, and its sockets. They were unable to set it up. Okay, this is a very important Rashi. They built everything, but they couldn't put it up.
Miraculous.
No, not miraculously. They weren't able to put it up. They had the materials, but they couldn't put it up. Because Moses himself hadn't done anything. He assigned everything. He had sent everything out to a contractor, to Bezalel.
What about Rashi's comment? No man was able to erect.
Right, that's what we're going to say. God left this job to put up the Mishkan. He left that to Moshe. Nobody else could do it because the beams were too heavy. No man could set them straight. Moshe was strong enough. Amar Moshe of Ne'akadosh Baruch Hu, Moshe said to God, he said, how can I do it? Amar lo asokata biyadecha v'nira k'mekimo. God says to Moshe, just look like you're doing it, and it will appear like you're setting it up. And then it will rise upright and stand by itself. Yeah, that's a miracle. But the first part wasn't a miracle. The miracle was not that they couldn't put it up. That was natural. The miracle was that Moshe Rabbeinu was able to do it. As it states, Hukama Mishkan. Hukama Elav. So the question really is, it was set up on its own. But here's the question. Why didn't Moshe get involved in the building of the Mishkan? Why did he leave it for everybody else to do it? So Hashem had to leave this role for him.
Give them the invested in the project.
Or he wanted them to get the mitzvah.
Yeah, but why didn't he do something?
Well, he ordered it.
He gave all the
He
instructions.
was
Yeah.
the transmitter.
Yeah.
I thought of a different question. The Mishkan moved around, right?
Each time he had to do this.
Each time you had to do this. So Moshe was the one who put it up all each time. And then what happened when Moshe died?
They would finish their journey, so.
No, the Mishkan was around. It did move a couple of times. It moved a
It
few
had to move
times.
after Moshe died, because Moshe never made it into the land.
Right, and we know it was at Shiloh for 300 something years. So it wasn't the first place it went. So how did they set it up when Moshe Rabbeinu, after Moshe Rabbeinu died? It's a very good question.
Wherever it stands by itself, so all they had to do is cart it from one location to another, put the beams around.
No, they took it down. They took it down.
Right? They took it down.
So-
They take it to the new place. Moshe isn't there. Then it just stands up on itself, even without Moshe.
Right.
No, I know, it doesn't say that anywhere. I don't know.
At this point, they also had a galot already.
The problem is not moving it, the problem is setting it up. It's a beautiful question, because Hashem says, because Rashi says only Moshe could do it. So after Moshe died, who did it?
Although, according to this, Moshe didn't do it. It appeared as though.
Yeah, but it does. So what happened after Moshe died? It must have been that. We'd have to say that after Moshe died,
Either they knew how to set it up, or it was, or it would go up.
maybe
miraculously.
Joshua did it, I don't know. Yeah. Okay, so, but the question is, why did Moshe not?
He said Moses did no work on construction.
Why not? Okay, Pasuk Mem Gimel, it says, Vayar Moshe et kol ha'molacha. Moses saw all the work. Trying to get in. Vinay Asuoto, maybe they want to get in. And they did it, Kasher Tziva Hashem Keinosu, Vayivarach Otam Moshe. So, we don't want to say the code on the YouTube, it's being recorded. So Hello there, Avi. Hi, Shayla. So Moshe saw all the work that they had done, and Moshe blessed them. Rashi says, "Vayivarachos Moshe." Moshe blessed them. Amar lahem, Moshe said to them, "Yiratzon shetishra shchina b'maaseh yedechem." May the shchina rest in the work of your hands. And what was the blessing? V'hi noam Adonai Eloheinu Eloheinu ma'aseh yodeinu konenehu. That's the blessing we say on Saturday night before we start to work. May our hands be blessed. May the pleasantness of Lord our God be upon us. Hu echad may echad asar mizmorim shebetfilah Moshe. This is one of the 11 psalms that begins a prayer by Moses, meaning to say that there were 11 psalms that begin this way. So David didn't write all the psalms; some were written by Moshe, and this one comes from a blessing that Moshe gave. That was the praise. So basically what we're in effect saying, listen to this powerful idea. Listen to this powerful idea. Moshe Rabbeinu blessed the Jewish people when he saw their work. He said, may it be sweet and pleasant. May God bless the work of our hands. So and that's when they built the Mishkan. So on Motzei Shabbos, when we say the same prayer on Saturday nights, we are in effect saying, may Hashem bless our work, that whatever we do this week, may it be like the Mishkan. Maybe we have a work of holy productive work, that we build a sanctuary, a sacred sanctuary for Hashem. That's what in essence we're saying. Powerful idea. That's what we're trying to make the work of our hands spiritual and powerful. Okay. Chapter 40. God spoke to Moses. He said, in the first month, the first day of the month, you shall set up the Mishkan. So the Mishkan was going to be built on Rosh Chodesh Nisan, which is coming up for us, right around the corner as well. V'samta sham es aron ha'edut. You shall put there the aron, v'sakota aron et parochet, and you should cover the aron with the parochet. Now, really, the aron is covered with the kaporet, not the parochet. And but there's a parochet, which is a curtain, which is this barrier between the Holy of Holies and the regular Mishkan. So Rashi says, "V'sakota al aron, lashon hagana." The word tzach here means, sakota means protection. Sharei mechitza aita. So if you ask, what does the word tzach on our sukkah mean? It means a protection. Okay. Rashi says to verse 4. Verse 4 says, Ve'veita tashochan, you should bring the table. Ma'arachta tarko, ve'veita menorah va'aleita nerotea. And you shall bring the table, ma'arachta tarko, and you shall arrange the table and bring the menorah va'aleita nerotea. Maybe we have to stop here. We'll pick this up tomorrow, God willing, chapter 40, verse 4. Maybe finish the portion tomorrow. And then hopefully we'll have time for Parshat HaChodesh as well. Shkoyach to everybody. Shkoyach.
Thank you.
Thank you.